Hey there, Give Me a Flakers. It's Give Me a Flake Man and Maggie Sensei. Hey Maggie Sensei, say hello. Say hello. You're completely clueless. Okay, go to sleep. All right. Today on a very special episode of Japanese for Morons, we have a guest sensei. We haven't had a guest sensei for a long time, so I'd like to thank Jessica. Jessica is on the channel MostAwesomestJes, and you saw me do a video response to her a few weeks ago. She is going to be doing a video response on bills, on general monthly bills. And I thought before I start, I would put out some random information. Things are said to be very expensive. Everyone thinks, oh, Japan's super expensive, but some things are cheaper than others. But of course, some things are more expensive than other things. A Macintosh is a little more expensive in Japan. This is a, what is this called? Not blue ball, white ball, snowball microphone by Blue Note or something. Snowball, it's a snowball microphone by the Blue company. And I got this in New York City for, I believe it was $75 in New York City, haggling a little bit. You can get it online for about $150 to anywhere from $100 to $150 here in Japan in the stores. This is a 1 terabyte drive. 1 terabyte drive you can buy for, excuse me, about $80. Pretty cheap. Some things, of course, are, it depends, on how much you use them. For example, I generally pay about $100 a month for my cell phone, but my wife pays about $50. And I know Hiko Simon pays, I think, about $80. So it really depends on how much you use it. Things that are cheap in Japan are cigarettes, or they will be until very soon. They're raising the prices, but they'll still be a lot cheaper than the States, I believe. It used to be where I think when I first came, like $2, $2.50 maybe. And I think they're raising it, I forget now how much it was, but quite a bit more. $4.50 maybe or something. Public telephone calls are still very cheap. Clothes is generally speaking expensive, but if you look around, you can find t-shirts for $5, new t-shirts for $5. Things like that. Those are just some random piece of information, about certain things that you might buy when you're here. There's not much of a used market, though, I have to say. Most people just throw stuff away. And as much as Japan, Japan has a reputation for being a country of rich people, but just today when I was walking my dog, I saw these two poor people. I can only assume they looked rather poor. Really skinny old guy and a woman in a wheelchair. And I'd never seen them before. I don't know what they were doing in the neighborhood except, trash hunting. They had come, they were in somebody's trash, like picking through the trash. And you might think that sounds disgusting, but because we separate our trash here, the trash is actually very, very clean, ironically. So they were going through things that are actually, and I gotta say, I've done this before too. When you see something that's obviously still useful, you just take it out because it's all in plastic bags and see-through plastic bags. And the only thing on the outside that's different is like red. In Nagoya, of course, I don't know about other cities, but in Nagoya, red means burnable trash, and it's like gross stuff, like stuff that you can use for fertilizer or, I don't know, poop or whatever, dog poop, whatever the gross stuff is in the red bag. The green bags are often things that are plastics and are not burnable, and often in those bags you'll find people have just thrown away like clothes or shoes or toys. Like I picked up a brand new Cookie Monster toy with a tag still on it in the plastic bag. So I took that home, give it to Maggie, but I actually kept it. But anyway, enough of random information on my part. Please enjoy the following video by MostAwesomestJes, Jessica, here in Japan. And if you like her, be sure to sub to her. Okay, show her support. All right, new vloggers. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, welcome to another video. So today I am going to try to make a video for you about my cost of living here in Japan. So how much do I pay per month in bills? Before I go into detail about everything that I pay, I want you to keep in mind two things. One is I live in a very urban part of Japan, so I live about 30 minutes from Tokyo. So I think my cost of living is probably more expensive than someone who lives farther away from Tokyo, someone who lives in rural Japan. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about my costs. My costs are probably higher than if you want to live in rural Japan. And second is I work for the JET program, so I get some housing allowance. Some jets have their rent paid for them, so they have a place for free. I've heard some jets who have that. Some jets have their apartments substantially discounted, so they pay like 10,000 yen a month or something, hardly pay anything. In my prefecture, there's so few of us that they just give us a housing allowance, and my housing allowance is 28,000 yen a month. So let's get started now that those two things are said. Let's get started on going over everything. I made a bunch of notes for you, so I'm going to keep referring to my paper down here. So my first bill is, of course, my rent bill. I pay my rent bill through not direct deposit. It's like direct bill pay through the ATM. I go to the ATM and say, okay, send all of my rent to my corporation that controls my rent, and it goes there. And that is 82,000 yen a month. 82,000 yen a month is for rent. Again, I get subsidized for 28,000 yen a month. So I'm bad at math. I don't know how much that is. If you want to do, you could do the math, but I can't think of math. I'm not good with numbers. I'm an English teacher. I mean, really. Anyway, so that's my rent. It's not too bad. I have a really big apartment. I have 2 rooms and then a big living dining room and then a big kitchen. So I have a really big apartment, and it's, again, like I said, near Tokyo. It's very convenient, so the price is definitely the apartment's definitely worth the price. It's definitely worth it. So my rent, my second most important bill would be my electricity. I mentioned before that my most expensive electricity bill was this month, was in February. And that was because, again, I had my heater running the entire time, and I had my kotatsu running the entire time and trying to keep warm. So, and also it gets darker later, so I turn on my lights earlier. Or darker earlier, so I turn on my lights earlier. I'm making no sense. Sorry. Anyway, so this bill this month this is my highest bill, 5,775, and this is my highest. It's very uncommon for me to use this much electricity. Typically, I use around 3,800 yen a month. My lowest bill, I think, was more than half of this, 25,000 yen for that month, and that was in October. It was getting dark really late, so I rarely used my lights, and I always had my windows open, so I didn't use my air conditioner, nothing. So, it can vary pretty widely, but an average of 3,800 yen. The reason it's more expensive in the winter is because I do use this heater. I was told that if I use my air conditioner instead of this, it would be cheaper on my electricity bill. And where that is true, for me, it's a little bit not true. It will be cheaper for my electricity bill, but it'll run my gas bill up. My air conditioner, the heating element, runs on my gas, and my gas is ridiculously expensive. It's my most expensive bill, of course, other than rent, but it's like my most expensive bill for what I use. It fluctuates. The price of the gas fluctuates, of course, just like, anywhere you go, price of gas will fluctuate, and it's that way here. I actually got my gas bill for this month today, and it was 5,675 yen. And you could see there all sorts of different things about, how much I used and all that, and how much it costs per thing, a charge, all that. So that's my gas bill. It's pretty expensive. So that's why I don't use that, is because this 5,675 yen is just from using my hot water heater and cooking dinner. I don't cook breakfast. I don't cook lunch. I usually eat dried foods for those 2 meals. So yeah, that's really expensive. So if I add that in, it would be way too expensive for me. So that's my gas. My next bill is my water. Now my water's my least expensive bill. It's paid every other month, and it's pretty inexpensive. Right there, 2,776 yen a month, and that is every month. I'm sure if I used a whole lot of water, it would go up, but every month that I've gotten a water bill, it's been this much money or less. It's been less because the first month I was here, of course I wasn't here for like 10 days, so they didn't charge me for those days. But every other month, 2,767 yen. Not a bad bill. So these 4 bills, my rent, my gas, my electricity, and my water, are the 4 bills that are, common. Everybody has them. If you have an apartment, you're going to be paying these 4 bills. So now we'll get on to my extra bills. My kind of, I don't need these bills, but I have them anyway. So my first one is J4M. J4M is who I do my internet and cable through. Most people don't have cable. I like cable. My cable is really good. It has international channels, so I can watch Fox and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's subbed, sometimes it's dubbed, but either way, I enjoy it. So my J4M bill is not bad. My landlord has a special deal with J4M that if we get cable, we get it for really inexpensive. So my internet is 6,000 yen a month, and my cable is 25,000 yen a month. So you can see right there, those are my rent, or that's my charges for cable and internet. Not bad at all, it comes to a total of 8,904 yen or something. So it's not bad at all, it's doable. I can't live without my internet. I need my internet or else I would, probably die. And that leads me to my NHK bill. Now, NHK, if you have a TV and you have it plugged into the wall, then you're going to pay the NHK bill. I do have cable, so I do have more NHK channels, so I do pay more for NHK. Standard NHK, I think, is like 1,300 yen or something, but my NHK is 2,990 yen. It's not bad. Again, like I said, I get extra channels and I can watch the full Olympics, and I enjoy it, so it's worth it. I pay it in 2-month intervals, so you could see there 4,580. So every other month I pay that to them. And this is actually a bill that I need to pay because it needs to be paid. And my last bill is my cell phone bill. Now, you don't need a cell phone here. Jason, my Argonauts, lived here 5 years and didn't have a cell phone at all. So you don't need one. I have one. I have a very basic plan. I do have internet on my phone, and I do have email on my phone, but that's about all. I don't have TV, I don't have anything else. I don't use my internet on my phone too much. I did when I first got it because I didn't have internet in my house, so I used the internet on my phone. But my bill is really inexpensive. The lowest amount I could go, and the amount that I usually do go, is right here, 3,654 yen a month for my cell phone bill. That's less than I would pay in America, so it's a good price. Of course, if I use more internet than is allowed, of course it goes up a little bit, but I don't think I've ever gone too much above that. I think my average for that has been 3,822. So there's only been a few times that I've actually gone above this amount. I got the easy plan, which I don't remember the details. I mean, I looked into it whenever I got my plan, but I don't remember the details. I signed a 2-year contract instead of a 1-year contract. I had every intention of staying here for at least 2 years, so signing a 2-year contract was nothing at all, and it cut my cost by like half. So it's really not a bad deal. So those are all of my bills. That's actually all my bills. Overall, rent and utilities, I pay about 109,351. So 109,351 yen a month. My utilities come to about 27,351 a month. Not bad at all. Again, jet salary is really competitive, so this is not a problem. Of course, at first when I had to pay startup fees and when I had to pay connection fees and all of these other service charges, I thought I was going to cry. But you know, after you get settled in, this amount is really trivial compared to jet salary. So it's really no problem at all. Other than that, you know, you've got your basic food and stuff. And I have my own personal costs. Like in coming here, I had to pay key money when I came here. So to get my apartment, I had to pay key money. Most jet don't have to do this, but I had to. And this key money is kind of like a good faith agreement, you know. Here, thank you for letting me stay in your apartment, to your landlord sort of thing. And that was pretty expensive. So I had to take out 2 loans. I took out a loan from 2 different people, 2 friends of mine, or I guess a really good friend of mine and my fiance. I borrowed money from them, and I'm paying that back. And I also have a lot of student loans, and I'm paying that back too. So every 3 months or so, I send about $3,000, you know, home every 3 months to pay for various things. I use GoLoids. GoLoids is pretty good, and it's very easy to use. There's some other ways you can do it too. It is expensive living in Japan, I'm not going to lie. It's not cheap, but it's doable, you know. It's really not bad. It is expensive in some ways, but inexpensive in others. Like, I don't drive. I don't have a car. I don't pay for gas in my car. I don't pay for insurance in a car. I don't pay car payments because I take the train everywhere or I walk. So there's a lot of, you know, give and take with the prices in Japan and with, you know, my bills in Japan. So that being said, I think that is all of my bills. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments or to send me a message. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and that you're not feeling overwhelmed by all the numbers, because I know I am. My brain stopped working now because I don't do numbers. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Peace.
Give me a flake, man. Give me a break, man.